welcome to the Horror Hangout podcast, a podcast where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and podcast about them. My name is Luke Kondo over Kate, and joined by my regular co-hosts, podcast host person, Mr.
Ben Podcast Errington.
And podcast extraordinaire, Mr.
And the podcasting conduit Turner. Hello, everybody.
Conduit Turner.
Yeah. Podcast. iPhone Turner.
Yeah, sponsorship. Hashtag sponsored.
Isn't it weird how the term podcast has really stuck? But considering it was coined for iPods, and iPods, didn't an iPod recently get put out of
misery? Yeah,
just been sent into oblivion, right? Be Zoomcast next.
Bang! Just shot the iPod straight in the face.
I think just like audios originally, or just, I mean, what were they before podcast? I mean, they were just bits of radio without the music.
Spoken words, just poetry.
These just audiobooks we're putting out every week.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
little audiobooks with typos. That's when we make a mistake.
Do you remember the first podcast you ever listened to?
Probably either Richard Herring, as it occurs to me, or Adam and Joe when they were on the 6 on BBC Six.
Music.
I think it may have been Adam and Joe, or maybe the Russell Brand show that was on Radio
Those two shows that maybe it's Ricky Gervais show actually, but it was those two shows, Adam and Joe show and Russell Brand show, that I kind of absolutely fell in love with, and so re-listened to episodes.
Yeah, you have to go back to it, and it was just the radio show with all the songs stripped out, essentially, wasn't it? It was like
but on the Adam and Joe show they would add in the stupid jingles as a way to kind of stick to the episode together, but the jingles made it so good.
Adam and Joe was brilliant, and that was back in the day when you had to find it on iTunes and download it to not even your phone, but that separate device that you used to carry around.
Was? Yeah, where every week they write a song and
so good.
Quantum Solace. I forgot what it's called.
Look how far we've come now.
Now
we're doing podcasts.
Now even we've got a podcast.
Even us. Three guys. We haven't got a radio show.
No.
Have you?
I feel like podcasting was given away by the celebrity elite, and then people like us get in, and now I get to frown and grind my teeth whenever, possibly even listeners, before you started this very episode, there was someone who's legitimately famous from television or radio going, "Hi, got a new podcast, chatting to my mom about just what's going on."
My mum, she's a massive racist. I'm not. Listen to us debate every week on this. It's funny. It's for all the family.
You can't say that anymore, Mom. With me.
Yeah. But yeah, we've reclaimed podcasting for the working stiff. I don't know.
Working stiff.
Working stiff. I got a massage.
Joe Soap, Billy Public. That's us.
Yeah.
Joe. Yeah. Billy Public. Billy Public urination. That's me. But here we are. Episode 232. That's a lot, isn't it?
That is a lot. Yeah.
You made the face then, Luke.
I have not seen the episode number for a long time. I didn't realize it was that high.
When somebody tells you something happened 50 years ago, you remember this? Yeah. It was 50 years ago.
Start planning our 250 soon. My goodness.
Oh wow. What could we do for that? Everybody treat themselves to a nice 250-piece chicken nugget meal. Cheesecake. Yeah, it's good.
The cheese bites from Burger King or McDonald's when they're on
real horror news. I think it was in, when you open a new tab on your browser and it goes, here's the MSN homepage.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I saw something that said man dies after eating 132 nuggets or something like that, and
just stop on Twitter,
at 131. Someone had quoted, so 131 is the limit.
Well, it depends on the person. No, not interested.
That's like a banana. If you have 5, you're fine. If you have 6,
you'll die. Like Peter Andre almost did that time.
Did he have too many? Also, that when you put them out, they put them out in a bunch, all tied together. with the stickers on them.
Yeah. They reform to make a new banana.
Shitey nana. Oh,
Yeah.
It's a shame, isn't it? How many chicken nuggets do you think you could eat? Because I've done a 20 box before, and I felt like I could have done more.
Oh, back in my peak, like shit eating days of like, being like a teenager when you could just eat things and not die, or like, fall into a coma afterwards. I do it on a lunch break, working at a game, down in the basement, stand up so you don't get tired. Just
snaffling away with his face in the box.
Have it on a shelf. I'd perhaps sort out a bit of pre-owned, alphabetize them while I was there. Another copy of FIFA 2006, eh?
50p.
And you've been in the basement for a long time. Don't look at me.
I'm eating 20 nuggets. And if you didn't get
belly button
dips,
poking out of his t-shirt.
Yeah. Swallow them down like a snake. That's
half man, half nugget. There we go. You got to eat fast and trick your stomach into thinking.
Takes a few minutes to know you're full, doesn't it? So you got to get them down before you can send that message.
Yeah.
And then your belly goes, "You tricked me. That's too many. I would have told you." Oh well, got you now.
I reckon that's one of the things that old Pinhead would pull out these days if he comes back. Have all the nuggets in the world, like Homer Simpson.
If you pull out one of Pinhead's pins, you think he deflates like a balloon. Starts floating around the room.
Or you could like try and maybe use like one of those puzzles on the Crystal Maze where there's a right sequence you could press that all of them would go in.
Yeah.
And it'd just be a smooth man covered in little dots like a mocap suit.
You know those things from the 90s that have the needles and you put your face into them?
I was thinking of that just a second.
I think he did that on his head. And
on a defective one, put it backwards.
They got stuck in there. Yeah.
What did you like to do with that needle thing? What was your
favorite? Put your face in and then you start tonguing.
Yeah.
Stick your tongue out,
good.
Yeah.
That was good. I used to just like put my middle finger out.
Oh yeah, lots of fist.
And then show it to someone, and then they go, "Oh, what?"
It's not me. It's the pinboard. That's Kryptonian technology. That is. In the future.
If we ever write a 90s horror movie, a ghost movie, we'd have one of those on the side. We'd have a face look through when no one was behind it, or the middle finger.
Wonderful. What else could you have in the 90s? A slinky going down the stairs.
One of those like plasma balls. One of those plasma balls that you put like your hand against there.
Super soaker. Do they still have those?
In a super soaker full of acid. That's how you'd fight them.
Yeah.
Full of acid. Why would it melt?
Just really hot water. Boil the kettle and pour it into your super soaker. That's like a low rent flamethrower.
Yeah.
So you kill an ant's nest. Take it. Ooh, yeah. Don't do that.
What else is going to be in your 90s thing? All that you've already nailed it with the Tazos, obviously.
Lava lamp.
Lava
lamp starts playing.
Leave it on too hot. Yeah.
God. Haunted. Are we talking haunted 90s objects coming to life and fucking you up? Lava lamp's heavy as well, and I always feel like was anyone else tempted to just like crack one open and have a little drink? Yeah.
No.
Crack one open and have a swig. I never did it. But I always kind of thought about it. I'd look at it and go, I wonder what it tastes like. I wonder if it would kill me. But I never did it, which is
probably yes. Yeah.
Probably
Haunted,
yes.
Mighty Max or Polly Pocket.
Yeah.
You get stuck in the thing, in the little game.
You get shrunk down. You get shrunk down to the size of it, and then all of the little things come to life.
Yeah.
And then like all the bottom, and you've got like then in the toy room, if you've been shrunk down, if you get out of them, there's a massive boglin just in the outside.
Oh yeah, boglin.
It's a massive boglin. Oh, it's my mum. Oh no,
that's a great name, boglin. Why aren't goblins just called boglins anyway? Yeah. Like it suits them. Or
copyright issues.
Yeah, that's a great. Whoever came up with that won.
They won life.
Had a good selection of mini boglins there as well. They were the blind bags you get out, collect them all. What a time!
Yeah.
Collecting stuff was big in the night. Do kids still collect stuff now?
They don't, but what they should do is get those aliens that are inside, like squidgy aliens that stick to things.
In Gunge, in little egg of Gunge.
And everyone was like, if it gives birth to another alien if you leave it for long enough.
Yeah.
If you put it on top of your microwave or you stick your finger in there, it will give birth to another alien.
If you cut it enough.
Never ever happened.
No.
It's giving birth to one that looks like legs.
Okay, what have we got? Got horror news. Got some horror news. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's do a little bit of horror news. We've reminisced.
There's been a couple. Yeah, we've reminisced about the past. We've become those guys. And now let's talk about
the future. What's coming?
Let's talk about the future. Exactly. Great segue. I was trying to craft a segue, but that's why you're here to
the segue champ.
Aid me. Segue champ. A couple of teaser trailers this week. A teaser trailer we mentioned last week because it was going to be released, and now we've seen it. But now there's two versions of it floating around. One which is probably a little bit better than the other. The Resident Evil television series, which is going to debut on Netflix July 14th, 2022. There's a teaser trailer. And it looks like there's like two timelines. Now, apparently I've read somewhere that the video game franchise is canon to this. Or this is canon to the video game franchise. The video games count as the backstory, allegedly, even though we've got Wesker existing in this.
This is canon with the games.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean,
no, there's a lot of games, there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and probably a lot of inconsistencies.
And we're to assume that this is the same Bertie Wesker that died in a volcano.
So that's what I thought, and then we're thinking, well, yeah, but now he's back, possibly in a new body. Maybe that's what they'll explain why.
He's got better, and he's a dad now. As a father, I've turned my life around.
Multiverse, probably.
Yeah. The opening line is, well, one of the lines in the trailer is, we've got this new drug, right? And it cures depression. Yeah. Increases focus. Oh yeah.
Right.
And it, what else is it? It's something like it cures depression, reduces anxiety, and increases focus. Oh yeah. But it's got a T virus in it. I'm out.
What do you put that in for?
Why have you added that?
Can you not make that drug without the T virus in it?
Is that imperative to making the other things work, like the antidepressant?
Because you're not depressed or anxious when you're a zombie.
Yeah. So it looks like there's two timelines. There's like a 2022 where it's like Umbrella. Why would Umbrella still exist? Because
is it new Umbrella? Is it new Umbrella for if it's following with the games? Is it new Umbrella from the blue one where Umbrella but nice now?
Yeah. It's got to be that, isn't it? And then there's another timeline which seems to be set in 2036, 14 years. There's like a deadly virus. And again, here's the problem I've got. And I don't want to be an old stick in the mud. But
lay it all out.
Resident Evil adaptations keep doing global apocalypse. Don't like it. Don't like worldwide apocalypse in Resident Evil. No, I like it. Small
town apocalypse,
a building, at the very most a raccoon city, but after that, and also
it's only a city because it's got a cathedral, not even that big.
Sometimes just a single house, but it's a big house underneath. Just a house.
A single house. It's a big house, got a lab underneath it, and there's a shark tank as well. It reminds me, keep an open mind, but
that is Resi though. When I think of Resi, it's the single location. And then there's the apocalypse level stuff underneath the town or underneath.
Cook it out. Gotta watch it.
Yeah.
But again, I'll keep an open mind. It reminds me of the movies. Unfortunately, it looks like it's got very much that kind of sheen to it.
Like a multicolored caterpillar in it. Did you see that bit?
It looks like the great
caterpillar.
It looks like the great gravedigger from
Capitalist.
But even the effects look the same. Even the effects look the same. Like Resident Evil, the movies did this thing where a huge thing would come out of the ground, and it did this weird sort of like, you might be able to describe it better than me, but it's kind of like it's a shot that kind of like zooms out,
like a noisy zoomy thing. I know what you mean.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was in the trailer, so I was like, I don't know. It looks like the movies to me, so I'm a bit like,
I'm surprised at this one, Ben. Like, I know that you're the eternal spring of hope when it comes to a Resident Evil trailer. Normally, I remember Welcome to Raccoon City, where you're like,
maybe it broke me.
I'm hopeful. Oddly enough, though, I think maybe this is maybe the most interested I've been, because I don't know what it is for the first time in a long time.
Just like lower your expectations as much as possible, and you can't be disappointed.
I could have fun with this. I want to see what how Bertie Wesker has turned his life around. It if he's the same man, is it going to be like a Dallas thing where he just steps out the shower? He goes, "Oh, that was a bit hot." He goes, "Oh, don't say it's too hot, Bertie. Like some people might misconstrue that information and say you died in a volcano."
Huh?
You do that, lunatics. Just had a hot shower, you know. But yeah, I'm interested. Maybe the games are just fun stories that his kids are writing that star their dad. Yeah, Dad, you're the baddie in this because you made me eat my broccoli.
Can you imagine? That is it. That's what they're doing.
Confirmed.
And you've got you've written about 8 of these. 6 really goes off the handle, but you get better after that. But now back to our normal lives as me, your dad, working at a drugs company.
Yeah, called Umbrella, which is also in the stories. That's weird.
But this is a good umbrella, not a bad one like that.
And also, in the games, there's been a lot of viruses after the T virus. Virus, G virus. What was it? Ouroboros? Have you say that one? The mold, the black mold stuff from 7 and 8.
And then you got is 6 still not the C virus?
Yeah, it might be.
Just a letter. Yeah. But you got to go back to the original recipe though.
Yeah, that's obviously what they've done.
It's like new Coke, isn't it? It's like actually no good. Original recipe.
My mind immediately went to the drug then when you said that. Yeah, this cocaine these days, bloody hell, what are they mixing it with? Bloody hell. Baking soda. So another teaser trailer after that. Unless anyone's got anything else to say about Resi, no.
Looking forward to it. Open-minded, then going into it. Not like you, always so negative about these things.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Here's the thing: I'm definitely gonna watch it.
I'm middle-minded. I would say I'm half open.
Mid-man.
Half.
The door's closed, but it's not locked. It's just on the latch.
Yeah, exactly.
You're sat on a fence, but it's you've got splinters
one leg over each. Yeah.
Up your arse. You can't wait to get off that fence as soon as you can.
Yeah.
So this teaser trailer, I mean, I would be happy for it to just stay like this. We've seen this teaser. Let's leave it at that. No more.
We don't need the movie.
We don't need
the actual movie.
We don't need a movie.
Just a little bear dancing about. T-virus in that medicine. Be careful.
T-virus.
Leave it.
Oh no,
the imagination.
Sorry. I meant the next film I'm about to mention, which is the teaser trailer for Prey, the Predator movie, which is coming out on August the 5th, 2022, not 2020. Coming to Hulu, and this teaser trailer is like 45 seconds long. It's directed by Dan Trachtenberg. How do you say that name? Trachtenberg, who directed 10 Cloverfield Lane. This is like 300 years in the past, in America, I guess.
Yeah.
Set in the Comanche Nation 300 years ago. Story of a young woman, Naru, a fierce and highly skilled warrior, and who turns out there. It turns out. Only old Xenomorph. Yeah, this sounds great, and if you've seen the teaser, it is just enough. It shows you everything you need to know. Here's where the movie's taking place. Here are the characters. Here's what's going to be happening. There we go. Done.
Yeah, I'm interested. I haven't seen that teaser or any pictures. I think maybe I've seen a picture of the 3 red dots on a woman's head.
3 little dots on someone's head.
That's all I need. But I mean, the Predator formula is actually really simple, and they don't need to change it up too much. So
this is what I'm excited by. I kind of want it in the past because I think that's the Predator works really well. Like I don't think it works when the Predator is this hunter, and he's got a laser gun, but there's all this technology and there's loads of gun dudes that are around that could try and get them, and there's all these things. I want it to be like the best part of the original Predator, where Arnie wins by stripping it back to basics and like making traps and doing jungle stuff.
Don't you think that part of the magic of Predator though is the uncovering or like witnessing the strange technology, and like in number 2, like when he has like a gunshot wound or something, he makes like a little blue cocktail and he like pours it on his, like seeing all of like the weird technology.
Bang.
He gets to
bang. And like seeing him take his mask off for the first time and all that mystery, that's like kind of gone really, mostly. So I don't know how you can get that mystery back in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're seeing. I guess the old ones are old enough now that there may be audiences that have seen this one as their introduction to the series, so that works.
Yeah.
For old hands like us, I guess it's just you're experiencing it with a new character, and because I guess the challenge now is that if you made a Predator movie that's set in modern day,
Yeah.
how much of that technology would really blow you away? Because I wouldn't think if like a normal soldier had like a laser gun on their arm, it's not something that you get down the shops. But like I wouldn't be like, impossible, a laser gun.
Yeah,
like,
the stealth, even the stealth cloak thing. I've seen that. I think we've got planes that do that.
Yeah.
No.
It just
and
seems
like
like
infrared vision and having a horrible face. I've been down the supermarket. I know people that like that.
If you look for a glass of red squash, Ribena, it looks the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Infrared vision.
If you look for a
white
glass
wine,
of Ribena.
in for white vision.
And that's how you look for xenomorphs. So red wine for people.
In for rosé.
White
exactly.
wine.
Yeah.
Oh, if the Predator invented rosé vision, you could see both. You wouldn't have to keep flipping it.
Yeah, he has one on each eyeball. That's why he's always winking at people.
Luke, where's my Ribena? What? Just walking down the street like holding a glass of Ribena in front of me. You're right.
Predator fruit and barley. They're just there with all the different.
I think just back to basics. Hopefully, this seems like. Obviously, I'm a bit more like a bit more twitchy about it because I guess we all watched.
You'll watch.
Alien
Was it
versus...
The Predator? The Alien versus
Well,
Predator
obviously we've watched
Predators.
both Alien versus Predators recently. We watched The Predator for this show, so maybe I'm a bit twitchy because of that, and but this is an interesting concept.
Tell you what, just we move off it, just because of the similarities they do with it. Another franchise that I'd like to see take this direction. I want to see Terminator go into the past and go after someone, like go after John Connor's great grandma in like the witch days.
Or like they go too far, like the Terminator rocks up in Jurassic Park, like Jurassic period. Whoops! Oh no! Now I just gotta, I guess, survive against this T-Rex. I don't know how that would work.
Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes. They accidentally do the time machine wrong. Send it back because you can't go forward, can you? In Terminator, you can only go back.
You can only go back, I think.
We can only go forward, just generally in our real lives.
Oh
yeah.
So there we go. Let's get Terminator in Jurassic Park times, or at the very least, Terminator,
or like medieval Terminator
versus cavemen.
Terminator versus like bacteria.
Neanderthal. Terminator versus Pangea. So is that what it's called?
I was just realizing, I just did a machine gun noise, but if you think about it, he travels back naked and actually collates all of his weapons.
Where does he get his energy from? Oh, he's got that battery, hasn't he? And he can throw it out of him like a bomb.
Yeah, only after number 3 they couldn't do that before.
No.
I saw a cartoon, like a comic strip the other day, and it was some guys jumping in a time machine, and then they were like, "Yay, the dinosaurs!" And then they went to get back in it, and it was unplugged.
That's great.
And that was it. Because what would you do? What would you do?
Get eaten by dinosaurs, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be it. You couldn't do anything. You can't. Would you? You couldn't invent it. You couldn't invent anything. I'd be screwed.
You could invent like a sharpen a stick. I've invented a sharpen
as far as I go, but I don't know if I'd be happy inventing electricity.
No. You could do that.
I guess you could
on Castaway. You get pretty far.
Something. Even if you died, you could write something down. You could write something down on a rock to remind you in the past. Say, remember to bring batteries. And before you went back, you would have seen.
Oh Jesus!
I think that would decombobulate the universe.
What would you write it with?
Chisel.
You got to invent a chisel first.
So confident.
Take one with you.
Just take a couple of rocks.
Do you guys not carry a chisel at all times?
To be fair, how would you
drive chisel?
How would you do that? Because you wouldn't know where the building is going to be exactly.
That's true.
It'd be big news if you found like an ancient cave. You can do like a really famous landmark, like find the mountain that Mount Rushmore would be on in the future. Chisel.
Yeah.
I just draw a knob on it.
Bring batteries, dickhead.
I just draw a knob on it with 2 jizz lines.
I guess you'd have to find somewhere where you think this piece of rock here is going to be here for yonks, like a really long time, and you have to write a very specific message that you know will have your name on it. Your full
name, your date of birth, when you're going to travel, back in time on this date.
Yeah.
I mean,
but then
it's mad. But then you'd
your
immediately know if it worked.
Your parents are like, we can't call him that. That's the name of that guy on that rock. So then your parents won't name you that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then you in the past would be like, bollocks.
I wouldn't name it. I'd just say, whoever's about to go back in time, remember this. And then when I was like, remember that thing in the news? You'd also, while you were there, right, like Google, Facebook, all these things, copyright this man in the future. And then you'd either get back and everything's name would be different, or
you know if it worked immediately. Like as soon as you finish that message, you'd immediately know if it worked.
The monocle appears on you. I'm really rich now.
Yeah. Maybe that's what cave paintings were. Is a guy who was able to paint stuff on, but he used like a really weak painting for the words, and they kind of faded away.
I was like, I'm going to use my fine liner for this.
Yeah, that went within a couple of years.
I won't lie, I can't remember what we were even talking about now.
The Predator.
Oh, yeah, that's it. So there we go. Maybe we could make a new podcast where we discuss time travel and stuff, because that was interesting, but also definitely hurt my brain. My eyes are going to start bleeding.
Luke, Ben, and Andy talk nonsense. The podcast.
That is this show, right?
Solving problems. To be fair, if we were beloved, established comedians from old media, we could do a podcast like that.
It's true. It is true. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that for horror news. Has anybody seen anything interesting, exciting, awe-inspiring, lovely?
I've been watching more Buffy. We're on season 2 now. It's really hotting up in terms of the quality of the production. It is pretty great. The writing is definitely Josh Whedon-y. There's been quite a few lines, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's. Can we like that stuff now? I don't know.
Depends what you're saying.
Artist, I don't know.
Are there any signs? Loads of people going, I'm gonna cheat on my wife, you know.
Yeah, there's a few signs. No, I don't know.
A few people say that. Why do they always say that? I never put it together at the time. No. Yeah. I think you can still like it. You're not like the honey monster from the other week, standing by someone and going, I condone everything this man does. I still like what they did.
Yeah. I'm still not sure about that, the honey monster. I'm gonna try and find this out.
I would just say I'm enjoying watching Buffy, and it's fun. Also, Kat's never seen it before, so it's really fun to kind of force her to watch something that she's not that keen on.
You do that thing when you introduce someone to a thing that you like, and you're sitting there watching it with them, but then if they ever turn around, it's you like just looking to see the reaction.
There's been like a couple of character introductions. Like Spike came in on like the very first episode of season 2, and I was like, oh, already, because I know he's a keeper character, but it feels like it's gonna be throwaway, but no.
Yeah, he's around.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I've been doing actually tons of reading for some reason. I've been like on commuting a lot, and a good way to pass the time is to get an Audible subscription. Just listen to tons of audiobooks. And I've been hitting the heavy horror books quite hard. Womb by Duncan Ralston is an extreme horror book, and it is extreme. So one of the most extreme horror books I've ever read or listened to. Have you ever read the Chuck Palahniuk short story Guts?
No.
Yes.
So it's that genre. So it's not like gore. Well, it's kind of gory in some ways, but it's not like extreme in that kind of traumaty way. It's extreme in the kind of the sexy way, I guess is the only way I can describe it. The sexual organs are the source of the horror. It's really good.
Everyone's getting their giblets off. No good. It's a bad time.
Yeah, well, I would say it's actually although I don't feel like this is my personal favorite genre of horror, this extreme sexual organ horror, I still think it's actually a bit of a masterpiece. Like it's the setup is really good. So a guy called himself Angel, goes to a hotel room and then pays for a lady of the night, a sex worker, to come. And then he says, all I want you to do is sit there. I'm going to tell you the stories that have happened all around this room that we're in now. And he tells her, like, it's kind of like a short story collection in that way. There's like a few stories, and the guy Angel is telling her these stories, and it's all leading to something bigger and bigger. And that single idea is like, why is he telling her these stories? Really pulls you through. And I just couldn't stop listening to it. It's really fascinating and gross. Really,
it does sound good though. It sounds really good.
And then I'm also reading The Handyman, which is the Bentley Little story. Bentley Little is a guy who's been releasing like a new horror novel every year. They all start with there's the Association, the Mailman, the Handyman, I don't know, the House. He's got like tons of these novels now. And no one, I think there's a weird thing on the internet. People don't know if he's real. People think because he never does any press. Like he's famous for being like non-existent. People think he might be a pen name that a bunch of horror writers got together and made, and they're all kind of just releasing a novel every year, like taking it in turns.
Okay.
But this one I'm reading at the minute is called The Handyman, and it is awesome. It's so good. So this one, the central mystery is the guy when he was a kid, his family bought a holiday home in Orlando, somewhere like that, and a guy who's a handyman built the house for them, but it seemed to be full of traps or like not it like shoddy workmanship potentially, or like genuine traps. And he started to find animal bones in the walls. Cuts many years later, the family seems to be cursed for some reason, and we find out that this handyman has done the same thing in many different houses. And we're kind of realizing more and more of what he is. He went to Vietnam and he kind of learned some stuff over there, and it's just a really interesting mystery.
Cowboy builder.
Now he's a cowboy builder / like
Trapman,
but there's a supernatural element. Like for example, one scene, the guy as an adult goes and confronts him, goes into the house, he goes to speak to him, and then before he knows it, he's being escorted back out, and the door locks behind him, and he realizes it's been 6 days, and he has no idea what happened when he went in the house. Like stuff like that is a really creepy, really good idea. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving this getting into the horror fiction again at the minute.
And commuting's one of the best times for it as well, because I love a story, but the reality is that I find most time to read, because a lot of my job is reading and writing all day.
Yeah.
Then I love a book to read, but the time I've mostly got to do it is late at night when I'm lying in bed. And then the reality is that I've got half a chapter in me before I'm knackered, and I'm like,
yeah.
And you're not really taking it in. So audiobooks are great when you've got a commute on.
Yeah. I mean, I've been kind of sticking my earphones in as I'm going to sleep as well, and just listening to the story. It's quite relaxing to hear a scary story as you're falling asleep.
Yeah, I like a story related podcast. There's a famous one that you guys both know that I quite listen to at bedtime. It's called The Other Stories. Not don't know if you've heard it.
You wrote an episode the other day that's being received very well.
Oh, yeah, I got some very nice messages about it. It was lovely, and touched on one of the other subjects we always talk on. It's a superheroes theme this month, right? So got a story that's tied into that. But yeah, seems to be going down quite well with people.
Cool. And that's about it for me, I think.
Yeah. What you've been watching?
So this week, on the weekend, I went to the Forbidden Worlds Film Festival at Bristol Aquarium. It's actually a Bristol Aquarium because they got an IMAX screen there. An IMAX screen that hasn't been used to show films like for years and years. I don't even know if it was even used before this.
Just keep fish behind it.
Yeah, maybe they had like some sort of like fishy film on there. Like, have a look at these fish.
Deep Blue Sea, Jaws.
All of the fishy films. But this was organized by 20th Century Flicks, celebrating their, I want to say 40th anniversary, something like that. And Bristol Bad Film Club are involved as well. And they just showed a lot of classic movies and genre movies on a IMAX screen, which was very exciting. So on Saturday, I only went to one screen, and I went to watch The Dark Crystal with my sister, which was very enjoyable. It was really cool. Good to see a lot of like film fans all together, just appreciating movies. And I think they'll do it again, because I think it was a success. A lot of the screenings were sold out. It is the 40th anniversary of 20th Century Flicks, which is like a video rental shop in Bristol, which is still going. It's a bit.
Let's go down and make a weekend of it next time. Maybe we'll
plan
ahead next time.
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely like to attend all the screenings, because I missed out a few. They showed Blade Runner, they showed Basket Case, they showed Girls' Night Out, And again, just like loads of sort of like random genre films as well. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, very successful, and probably do it again. That IMAX in Bristol needs to. Oh wait, they show Poltergeist as well, Mad Max 2.
Big movies then, like big genre films.
Big genre films, and then some smaller ones like Thrilling Bloody Sword, Taiwanese fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
The Secret of Nim. Is that how you say it? Nim? It's like a sort of animated.
Oh.
Yeah. Dracula AD 1972. Because it's Christopher Lee's the anniversary of his birthday. It says anniversary of his birthday. His birthday. Yeah, it was cool. And as I said, I'd never seen anything in IMAX before. I've never been one for going, I'm going to go and watch this in IMAX. I mean, I know I should do. So I would like to do that more. But yeah, it was cool. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And the only other thing worth mentioning I saw this week, I saw The Sadness on Shudder, which is it Chinese
drama? Chinese drama about sad people?
It's a Chinese drama about sad people who get so sad that they become crazy, depraved, violent, zombie-like people.
So it's like the comic series Crossed, yeah?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. It's like Crossed.
Yeah. There's definitely some of that going on. So I liked how it started. I was a bit like, oh yeah, this is good. It's like, it's depraved, it's gory, it's violent and sickening. It pushes like it's got that sort of splatter punk bad taste element to it where you're a bit like, oh, that's a bit too far. What's that? Oh, this ain't gonna happen, is it? Oh, it is. Oh no, I knew it.
Anything but that. Come on.
Anything but that. And the aesthetic of that like works for the most part. I just feel like about halfway point, I felt like it got a bit stuck. Where like it wasn't sure.
Pause by accident.
Come on.
I'm bloody stuck. Come on. Was this in the same screen the whole time?
Buffering, internet's gone off.
I had a similar issue with Firestarter. I pressed fast forward, went right to the end within 10 minutes.
And then you went, well, that's the end of that.
And then your feedback is going to be, everyone goes so fast in this film. Yeah, a minute to think.
I mean, a lot of people were saying this is like, oh, it's amazing. But yeah, I've read a lot of reviews of people saying there's absolutely no storyline to it. And I guess like there's not. It's just like a scenario where you're like, okay, I can pretty much see where this is going to go. This is probably going to happen. And but still, it was suitably creepy. A bit 28 days later ish, I guess, in terms of like people sprinting towards you. But I don't know, it had this sort of like sexual, rapey undertone to it as well, which I don't know if it kind of worked as well as they wanted it to. Do you know what I mean? Rather than it being like, oh, this is sick, I can't believe this is the worst. It kind of felt a bit like, oh, really? Like,
yeah, call me a bloody snowflake if you like, Ben. But don't always enjoy rapey undertones in my entertainment these days. So.
I feel like it took it far enough without needing to go, okay, we're going to take it to this point as well. Because I was a bit like, crazy, bloodthirsty, violent people who are also horny. Like, but I mean, saying that, they do explain why that is potentially there's some reasoning behind why people are doing that stuff as well.
Stop themselves having the sadness, get something to do in it.
It's definitely worth a watch because, you know, it's going to be one of those movies that's going to split opinion. And I think a lot of people are going to say, I've heard people saying, oh, it's this year's Train to Busan. No, it's not. You know, there's no emotional stakes in it. Like Train to Busan's got so many emotional stakes. Whereas this, I think it like tries to like go, maybe there are emotional stakes, but then it like forgets about them.
Then it rapes them.
Pushes it the other way rather than playing on those. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I do want to watch it.
I will watch it as well. What I will say is, so to bring it back to that Womb novel, which is an extreme horror, and it sounds like it does push similar buttons. I will say everything in that book, that story feels very cohesive. It has a real point to it all. So yeah, I know you can do the extreme horror and still kind of, you know, tell a emotionally engaging. And
I think that's the thing. Like you can do, especially in horror, which is meant to be provocative and challenging, you can do whatever you want, but as long as you've got a a reason to do it. Like, and it isn't just exclusive to horror as well. I think it's come up in previous ones. Like, again, look at something like Kick-Ass 2. Like, when I read that as a book, I'm like, some of this stuff is just a bit, comes across as just a bit edgy for the sake of it. And it kind of lost the things I liked about the original one with it just, you're pushing this with no particular reason to push it, in my opinion, in some of those cases.
Went a bit edgelord.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing it's got on it, which I kind of enjoy, and I like this in zombie movies or horror movies in general, where, you know, when it reminded me of Army of the Dead in a way, you know, when there's like hordes of undead or hordes of zombies or hordes of infected, but there's like one who's really persistent, you know? They're not all getting dispatched. Just there's like a nemesis one, not like nemesis from the Resident Evil, but like someone who keeps popping up all the time. You're like, this one again? What's this one playing?
That's the one that's going to get me, isn't it?
That's the one that's going to get. And the sadness has this, and that was one thing I kind of liked. So
interesting.
That is it from me for this week, though.
For me, mostly unhorror stuff. I finished off The Mandalorian, then I ran through all of Book of Boba Fett because I wanted to catch up before old Obi-Wan Kenobi came out. So I did that. That was good.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun with that. I think Boba Fett was a little bit underrated. I particularly enjoyed the Hum-da-Dum music. It's great.
Yeah.
But other than that, oddly enough, the things that I went through that accidentally turned out to be the most horror, I just blitzing through a bit of old comic backlog, looking at some old stuff, and I came across some of the relaunch that IDW did of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I didn't expect to find the closest stuff to horror I digested apart from the films of the week in what is essentially a little bit of a curiosity aimed at a younger age group of mine. But I thought, old fan, it was the 30th anniversary, so I'd got a couple of the trades. The trade I picked up and I had a little look through, it's basically like there's a robot zombie virus that turns you into a robot zombie, and then like having a proper zombie apocalypse in my Sonic the Hedgehog. It was weird. It's very, very unusual choices, but you know what?
Oh, wow.
Didn't dislike it. It's all right.
Are they called Zombots?
They are called Zombots, but they hang a lampshade on that and make fun of it in the thing. So that's a lame name. And there's people that are infected with like this organic metal virus that that's coming along. It's some interesting takes on it, and there's properly like you've got artists drawing these cartoony animal scenes, like getting like grabbed by these zombie robots and like by hordes of people getting dragged out of the houses. It's
wow.
I reckon this is going to be. There are some kids reading this now that it's going to be their introduction to horror.
Yeah, that's cool.
Great times.
And it's not the current trades at all. It's probably a year or two old now, so I'm guessing that's all been resolved at this point. But yeah, wasn't expecting that to be my extra bit of horror this week. But because otherwise, the only overtly horror films I watched were the films of the week.
Films of the week: Firestarter original recipe and Firestarter updated, improved. I mean,
2.0.
2.0.
Do we talk about the overarching issue here now? Because I think we intended going in on this that our main focus was perhaps going to be the recently released remake out this week, right?
Yeah. So I think, based on how we've done this in previous episodes, we're going to be doing the original mainly the original, but we're going to dip in and out of the remake when we feel like we need to. And I guess in a way we're contrasting them. And it's lucky that, they're, obviously similar story-wise, but in terms of how well they portray it, quite different.
Both about fire starters.
They're both about fire starters, twisted fire starters. I've got questions. We'll get into them.
There are all kinds of questions that come up in this one.
There are all kinds of questions.
But interesting, the whole concept of it. It wasn't something I was very familiar with before we watched it. And I think the other thing, just to say before we get into it, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, keep me honest, guys, all of us watched the new one before any of us saw the original, right?
Yeah, and I've not read the book.
No, me neither. No. So starting with, I'll introduce the original one first. So Firestarter is a 1984 American science fiction horror film based on Stephen King's 1980 novel of the same name. The plot concerns a girl who develops pyrokinesis and the secret government agency known as the Shop, which seeks to control her. Directed by Mark L. Lester, stars David Keefe, Drew Barrymore, Martin Sheen, George C. Scott. And then obviously the remake, which came out just recently, just this week, is essentially the same science fiction thriller film. We're calling it here. There's no sort of lean into horror on this description. Directed by Keith Thomas, and obviously this one has got Zac Efron, Ryan Keira Armstrong, Sidney Lemon, amongst others. This is a Blumhouse movie as well. They love it, don't they? They bloody love it.
Yeah, they'll turn up.
They'll turn up. So yeah.
Honey.
What's going on, sweetie?
Something feels weird in my body.
I think we should go talk to your mom about this.
Mommy said I was a buttery muffin.
I just want you to have a normal life.
I want stupid Wi-Fi. That's normal.
That stuff rots your brains.
Do you really believe that?
It's okay, Charlie. A quick Google search will show you all the guts you want dissected perfectly. We don't even need to do this anymore.
I don't have Google.
I think if you heard a clip, that should be from the remake, but we will be, as I said, mainly discussing the original with some remakey bits. But yeah, it was the first time watching the original. Well, first time watching both of these.
Well, in terms of reviews, they're both not particularly well reviewed. So the original is sitting at like 6 out of 10 on IMDb, 37% of Rotten Tomatoes, but it's kind of smashing the remake, which has like 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really low. That's
rough.
That's probably a bit too low, I think. And 4.6 on IMDb. It also has a 1.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd. This is the remake. A couple of choice reviews for the remake. So, Evelyn said, "Same bad reviews I've seen walking in. This movie was awesome. Pure art. The camera angles, the acting, the plot," and it's got those emoticons in it. Literally incredible. 5 stars. For her, it's like a Criterion Collection film. And then Jessamy DeSantis said Firestarter, half a star.
Wait, which one are they talking about?
This is a remake.
They're talking about the remake. Okay, Firestarter.
Yeah. And best film ever. So yeah, Firestarter.
Firestarter. I mean, after watching the remake first and then going and watching the other one, first of all, Drew Barrymore, absolute legend, fantastic young actress. I think is very clear. It's not surprising she had such a amazing career. Obviously in a lot of major horror roles as well. I say a lot.
E.T.
Some major horror roles, and then she was a Charlie's Angel as well.
What's that never-ending summer thing that she's in with Adam Sandler?
50 First Dates.
Oh, 50 First Dates. Yeah, she good at that. She good at pretending she's had her memory wiped every 24 hours. She's great. And I think the original is great because of the cast. So like David Keefe is awesome. Martin Sheen is good as like George C. Scott. The fact that they really, really flesh out George C. Scott's character, John Rainbird. Whereas in the remake, they just go, John Raybird's knocking about. Oh yeah.
It's just like he's like a Terminator in the remake. Whereas in this one, he's actually got quite an interesting plan and a bit of motivation behind him. He's not just a lunatic that's going to turn up and shoot some policemen.
And the remake gets about 2/3 into the story of the original and just ends it. Just goes, actually, you know what? I think we're done.
I do feel like so.
Wrap it up.
The original is a movie of its time. It feels very much like an early 80s Stephen King at his height of popularity kind of movie. The remake feels like a 90s film. Like it's like a sci-fi thriller, very Terminator-y in a way, like a dad and child try to get away as some Terminator sort of guy is after them. I actually I enjoyed in that light, as in it's like this isn't breaking any ground, but this is quite a fun watch. I enjoyed the first half of the remake. It was all right, and then it, like you said, it
should have been
just didn't. I don't know what it would.
For me, I think the biggest issue with the remake in particular that isn't necessarily the fault of any of the filmmaking or anything that's gone on with it. I feel like it doesn't really bring much new that the original hadn't already done, apart from updated visuals. But it's
contact lenses.
Yeah, they got special contact lenses to make sure you can't make you do stuff. But
John Carpenter's score as well.
Oh
I quite like that score.
Yeah, the thing that gets me in terms of its characterization and why I should care about it, its big problem is that it comes out in a world where superhero movies are really, really easily digestible by everyone, and they are ubiquitous. Everyone is, even if you don't go in for Marvel movies, you know what they are. You cannot have not seen them, and that storytelling and the way those characters are developed, particularly in film, has come a long way since this book was made. So now it is a real challenge to do some of the characterization that you do and the explanation of powers and backgrounds and sinister government agencies that might be after you. It feels, like you say, like it feels like a TV movie or a 90s thing almost. That feels almost a throwback versus what modern stuff in that genre of film does now.
I think it also sorry, Andy, it also struggles because Stranger Things exists, and I know Stranger Things obviously leans heavily into dozens and dozens of 80s pop culture properties, books, films, loads of stuff like that. But the fact is, everyone's so familiar with that and so familiar with Jean Grey and just
they even have like the shop. They have their own DSI government in a Stranger Things.
Of course. And it's not to say, I mean, to a degree it kind of does it better, but it's got more time to tell a coherent story involving that character. And now we're on to like season 4 of this, but because everyone's familiar with it and everyone's seen it, just seeing it in this instance is a bit like underwhelming, I guess.
And it's not like there are bad people in it. Like Zac Efron, very accomplished actor. Like I've seen him be funny in things. I've seen him do dramatic roles. Like he's good, but
he can sing.
He can sing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it feels a bit like maybe, just maybe. Sorry, Zach. Write in if you feel differently. I feel like maybe he wasn't perhaps trying his hardest in this one.
He tried so hard his eyeballs bled.
Trying to
method acting, that was.
Dial it back a bit.
Your eyeballs bleeding. Right, roll the cameras.
Yeah, I think he's all right. I think that weird like neck crick stuff he does constantly.
Yeah, his neck crunch when he wants to switch his powers on.
It's a weird affectation.
I don't know if I was into that.
Well, I wasn't. I spit cheesy pie, but the entire thing was a bit cheesy pie. I just feel like I've already said it so many times, but it gets to the middle part of the film, and then it's like, I guess she just gets revenge and then walks off. Like it doesn't go far enough. Doesn't do enough.
Like the whole third act in the original with old Rain, what's his name?
Old Rain.
Rainbird.
Rainbird. Like that in itself is like a really interesting sort of story. And the fact that the remake just completely disregards that. I feel like it gets so many relationships wrong. Even like the old couple.
Yeah.
In the original.
Are they sweethearts in this original?
They've just got like an arc, and the fact that it ends where it ends with them And I'm just confused as to where in the remake what these characters are supposed to be. Because initially it's like, oh, is it a bit sinister? There's a secret woman who's unwell, who's poorly in bed.
Yeah, she's right poorly.
I don't know. And I feel like it just misjudges a lot of the relationships. And I really, really feel the connection between Charlie, played by Drew Barrymore, and her dad in this film, in the original. Because I don't know, I understand that longing when they're separated, when they're just like, oh, let's just.
Whereas he just seems a bit irritated by her in the remake.
He's had a gutsful. He's just like,
he starts the film with a flashback about that time she was on fire in bed when she was a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
Have you murdered a cat?
Oh yeah. I liked the effect where things started to singe around. But that's quite nice. Whereas in this one, I mean, in the original, the effect was pretty much we just have a hairdryer below Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
She looks like she's struggling to squeeze out a fart, and then somebody just sets on fire.
Also, is Charlie? Has she got fireproof clothes, fireproof skin?
Yeah,
because she's burning a load of stuff around her.
She's like a Human Torch. Yeah.
Okay, she's got like a force field around.
Yeah, like a little aura of fireproofness that affects whatever clothes she's wearing. Doesn't affect her mom and her oven gloves though. Burn her arms up.
Is that?
Oh yeah.
Everyone like sweats so much when she's like preparing to fire. It's like a defense mechanism. Like you can't burn someone who's wet, so they just kind of coat themselves in oil.
Particularly in the original, people worry about it for a long time. They stand still and they can obviously feel that they're about to be on fire. So they have to stand still, like going, oh no, oh dear.
Really boiling, that is.
That was wham, isn't it? Bloody wham.
Is she a fire starter or is she a make things hot person? Because she boils water and stuff.
I think she. Yeah, it is weird. She's a make things hot person. That's like the primary power, but then also
flames.
I liked actually. Oh, we'll get to it, but she shoots like, Mario, the cannon thing.
Yeah, in this one she gets fire. In the original, she gets fire flower. She's
she can do that. She shoots him right out of her chest as well. It's a bit weird.
Douse him. Does a douse him fireball.
Yeah.
She can do it all. Whereas the powers are a little different in the remake, where she kind of gets all the powers by the end. She can control computers with her mind. She can.
Oh yeah, there's a bit.
Oh yeah, why does she do that?
And then
I don't
she can do. She can she can do her mom's Wazin stuff power. She can do her dad's mind control power.
Yeah.
Everyone has the same one.
So her mum's Matilda and her dad's Professor X, essentially, right?
Yeah. And if you add those two things together, as everyone knows, you get fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel thing's a bit weird. I mean, why is it that what is it in a person's head that could look at a computer and like as if like you've plugged into it with a keyboard and mouse and you could see that like you had the screen up, like you have to still know like the commands or the code to make it do that stuff. You can't just go. You can't will a computer to do what you want it to.
Unlock all the prison doors and stuff like she does.
Yeah.
You could have got around it quite easily by having her, mind control that man who's having the worst day ever at work, who's just watching the cameras and he's going, "Send guards here." No one turns up.
Yeah,
like she could have mind controlled him and gone, "Open doors, will you?" He'd be gone, all right.
Yeah, there's a cool bit where all the doors opened, and I was like, "Oh god, let's see what cool, creepy, weird, powerful people they got hidden away in these doors."
Just that one shot.
No one came out. It's a very empty prison.
I've just opened all the doors in the prison. So what? We've got one prisoner,
and he works for us.
And he got no legs.
he works for us. Old Johnny Moccasins.
Oh yeah, he does work for us. Johnny Moccasins.
He's in there by himself, just in the bed.
In the prison. But I work for you. Get in the prison.
Right. Why didn't they have more people? So one thing I like in both of them, right at the start, there's a guy who has his eyeballs out. I don't know why. Does that get explained in either of them?
They're itching.
It's hay fever season. Bloody pollen count.
Is that a take on what we get in the original one? Where, because again, really creative uses of the powers. Like in the original, you see when the agents come to take Charlie away, and the dad is livid. I like his effect when he does his power, because in the new one, Zach does a neck crick and makes his eyes go real big. Whereas in this one, he rubs his hands through his luxurious 80s mane. And goes, oh, real stressed. And then does like his power where he like says, "You're blind." I mean, he didn't necessarily say, "And your eyes really hurt," but those agents really have it. Like,
yeah.
Or a man with a gun, you could go kill yourself, but he just goes, "Jump towards me."
Oh yeah.
Give really specific instructions. Jump towards me.
Jump and make it like you're on You've Been Framed.
250 quid in his back pocket.
Maybe
Beagle's
boingy
gonna
noise
love
when he
that.
jumps out.
So I guess it's there's a bit of like Carrie in there, isn't there? I guess.
Oh yeah.
Is this like Stephen King's X-Men? If you gather Firestarter plus Carrie,
yeah, you're most of the way there. I mean, what else? Plus
Christine,
Clown.
that's Car.
Plus Clown. He would be like the bad guy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all there. I mean, I think Stephen King is a big fan of like that genre of storytelling. And this, like at the time, I imagine it'd be, whoa, imagine if X-Men were real, it'd be really horrifying in reality to have powers like that. I think that's what he was kind of going for. But like I said, now, and even in the remake, they do say you're a superhero. But now it's like we get like we've not only had the source material, but we've had stuff that is like meta textual as well.
And we've also had, I think maybe you mentioned this as well recently, didn't you, Andy? We've also had the like bad Superman trope in a lot of stuff as well, haven't we? So we've had evil super.
The one we did.
So we've had Brightburn, we've had The Boys, we've had like Justice League stuff.
Yeah, the future bits of Justice League. You have Injustice. Like bad Superman is probably more common than good Superman in adaptations right now. Yeah,
Invincible. So it's so common right now that seeing like a superhero, like an evil, it's not evil, but capable of. It could be an origin story for an evil superhero. Feels very commonplace, and it doesn't feel.
But the thing is, as well, is that I think that's what the challenge comes in as well. Like, especially in that choice, like the mom talks to them, saying, "Oh, you're very special, and you're like a real life superhero." Again, indicates that you're in a world where superheroes are in common lexicon and so on. But then that is played against the people at the school absolutely unable to comprehend that this is an unexplained phenomenon. So they choose to believe like that a little girl somehow exploded a toilet without being injured in the slightest.
Cherry bomb.
Yeah. But she saw like fire come out and the tap's boiling. She's like, "Don't know how she did it, but expelled."
You just go, that happened. There must have been a gas leak or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't go. It was that little girl hiding in the corner.
That little girl who just ran into that toilet after that bully kid had a go. I'll do nothing about that. She ran in there and immediately exploded the toilet unplanned.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
What did you have to eat last night? Burrito.
Beans,
signs. So I guess the crux of this is that there is like an experimental low-grade hallucinogen called Lot 6, and they get together a load of like college kids who include Charlie's mum and dad, Andrew McGee.
For $100, I think.
For $100, we're going to inject you. Something's going to be water. Other things have got an experimental chemical.
You can't just inject someone with water, can you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Water's
I guess
fine.
that's
Air is a bit dodgy, isn't it? What does that do?
It goes into your heart and kills you.
Makes you fizzy, like fizzy water.
Soda stream people. Do you need that entire can of
Soda streamed?
Watch out for them.
Yeah, of the two versions, again, I quite like the experiment flashback we get in the original, where it actually shows some people losing their minds. It shows that this is the event that actually gets the mom and dad together and gives them their powers.
Because the mum Vicky she can immediately read minds, and she hears Andrew saying, "You're fit," and she goes, "Oh, thank you," and he goes, "Well, I just thought that."
So that's a lovely compliment.
Oh yeah, it's a lovely. I didn't say anything.
What you say he did? He said I got a wazzo pair of knockers. I did not. How dare you?
But then you just go, maybe I did say it out loud. I thought it, but
he actually said hair was like burned copper. So he Max Payne there in his poetry.
Oh yeah, your hair's like an old burned copper. Cheers. Talking of burned copper, let's have a baby.
But I would like to see more of that that flashback stuff. I feel like there'd be more. I've got a feeling in the Stephen King book, there's probably loads of it. There's probably too much of it.
Yeah. Anyone got a read on what the page count of the book is? Are we talking like doorstop level, or is it a little novella?
I'm going to say 500 pages.
426 apparently. So chunky enough,
400 pages. You've got a good section of them in the the 70s, I guess, hanging out, learning their powers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens, and then it flashes forward, and they're married. Got an 8-year-old daughter named Charlie, and she can control heat and fire. And she can also see the near future. It says here, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, you keep saying, their masters are coming. They're on the way, aren't they? From the shop.
Coming, yeah.
In the remake, I don't think she has. It's the dad who has that power.
Yeah, he's definitely got all of the Professor X powers, and the mom who doesn't like to talk about her powers for the purposes of one scene until she shows it in the next bit when the other guys are out getting ice cream. I like the way that flashbacks work in this one, because we immediately have the father and daughter on the run, whereas it's kind of positioned as a little bit of normal life in the first one, in the remake rather.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a little more, I guess, a little more heavy in the build-up to anything happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a scene in the original where Dad and Charlie are like running away for the government agents to get in a taxi and say drive, and he goes, "Don't have to ask me twice." But I think he makes him believe he's got to drive, and then he goes,
"He doesn't even
here's $500 bill."
Yeah.
I ain't turning down $500.
$500 bills don't exist, do they? Do they?
Believes it. If you see one,
I feel like I'd believe it. I'd believe it. I go, how much? Cheers.
I'll never say no to a Benjamin or something like that. I never said my name.
Yeah, I'd get him to do whatever I wanted, powers or not.
It's $1 million note.
Give me one of them crisps.
Give me one of them crisps. No, you've already had one.
Just one.
Just one. A single one. Yeah, when you ask people, can I have a crisp? And they go, yeah, here you go. And they give you one. I like them people who give you full access to the bag to take how many you want. And then you feel people start to scoop, don't you?
They grip, and then you grip it. You grip that bag. What are you doing? Gripping the bag.
What are you doing? It's this weird tug of war where you're like, I want them. Where am I? I bought
Christmas cracker.
Yeah.
And then the big challenge, you have a bag of crisps at the pub, and someone just opens them up in the classic. Only open a bag of crisps like that at a pub on the table.
Yeah.
Little silver platter that all your crisps are on.
If you've
fair game for the table, then
fair game for the table. If someone else leans over and takes the crisps that you bought and does that, that's ultimate disrespect.
Glass
him. Dare you? Glass him. Why did you glass him? Well, he got my crisps with that. He's innocent. Let him off.
Use your mind powers. You're blind. What?
You're blind. Because if someone went, "You're blind," you go, "That's weird. I am."
Oh, that's funny. I can't see. You wouldn't scream.
You wouldn't go, "Ah!"
Yeah.
Sleep with his eyes open.
Yeah, literally, like thrash around on the floor, like comically crawling around.
Every time he blinks, he has a mild panic attack.
Yeah.
Ah! Oh, I'm all right. Don't worry. Oh, it's a blink again.
Just he's panicking all this time about being blind.
Don't want to be blind. Yeah, and obviously what the government agents do, the shop, is that they kill the mum. They kill Vicky, and they get home one
Pop
day.
a note in her mouth as well.
Pop a bloody note in her
we
mouth.
killed love from the shop.
Yeah.
It was us.
And then Charlie gets abducted after that as well, doesn't they? Because he comes home and
that's the people who he blinds. Because he just comes home and they've got her on the lawn, but they've killed his wife and put her on the ironing board. Whereas in the remake, it's Johnny Rainbird who just gets a phone call one day saying, "Do you want to?
Yeah, they give him like a whole.
Do you want to kill some people up?" And then he kills the mom. Is his power that he's just invincible? Because she's she's throwing all things at him, and then he just walks up to her and chokes her out.
Yeah. She's like, the mum says, when you meet Charlie, you'll realize, like, you'll change your opinion. She doesn't just change his opinion; she blows his eyebrows off.
Yeah,
I don't think go back out the entire film.
I mean, he does change his opinion. Spoilers for the remake of Firestarter. He's nicer at the end.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think it's earned, is it? Like,
I guess he has time to think about it when he's in prison for a while.
It's like she's like my god now or something. Like,
I think you're actually brilliant.
Because there's a weird sort of like in the remake, there's like a weird Rain Man. What's his name? Rainbird. He comes to like respect her / like worship her power. Whereas in the original, George C. Scott's John Rainbird is a bit initially comes across as a bit noncy.
Yeah, but he's got a good plan. Like, he seems to be in this one. He respects that she has power, but is like, basically, this is a little girl with all these powers. When she is a hormonal teenager, where the powers come from the pituitary gland, that'll go absolutely bonkers when she's a teenager, and she'll be able to like burn the planet in half if she wants. So he's on about killing her. He says, right, do your experiments on her, learn what you need to, but in fact, I don't need to tell you what I'm going to do. I'll show you what I'm going to do, because there's the man, he's in both versions, the scientist that was behind the experiments. He has
Ernst Boddicker.
Yeah, he has a bit of a
Red Foreman.
He has a little bit of a Red Foreman. He has a little bit of a talk about it in the other one, in the remake, but in this one, where he's not Red Foreman in the original, he's just a scientist that did those experiments. Seems like quite a kindly scientist when he's doing it, but obviously he's got into some dodgy science while he's in with a shop. And then he wakes up one night in his bed. Old Rainbird is over him, karate chops him in the face to death.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Just Miss Piggy's him. He just like goes, hiya. Yeah. He's like, hiya. And it is just a karate chop in the face and he's dead.
Yeah.
So in the original, after rescuing her from the agents, blinding them, and then telling his neighbor to just go back inside. This has nothing to do with you. Go back inside, I'll blind you as well. Then they're like on the run for like a whole year, isn't it? They're like just living, just going
living.
Have you ever
money out of the phone box?
Considered as you're a kid, maybe less than now, like if you were ever involved in a big crime, like a bank heist or something, or an accidental murder, and you went on a run, do you ever like consider like in the UK, like, oh yeah, just drive, but then like there's nowhere to go, like you will get caught. Like England is terrible for going on the run.
He's driven to Scunthorpe, but we got him on CCTV in a local subway, and he's having a foot-long meatball marinara, and we found him. We got him.
He's on the M1. He's on like one of the big roads. I don't go. You can't go on a run in England. Like it doesn't work. America's great for being on the run.
Yeah,
because if films have taught me anything, it's that all their law enforcement agencies don't cooperate. And they'll spend all that time. It's my jurisdiction.
And there's no lines. Yeah, if you get over that line, can't get you. Yeah,
absolutely great.
Like a force field.
Whereas if you leave Somerset, no one gives a shit.
I'll still arrest you.
Where's he gone? He's left Somerset. So
imagine you're trying to do that. You've been lied to by all these films, and then you've crossed over into Wiltshire, and you'd be like, ha. County line, boys. And they're like, well,
can't cross here. No, been arrested.
Can't the other police department from the other side of the line push you back into the bit where you did the crime?
We don't want
sumo wrestlers.
Yeah. And if you throw those on, they'll be arrested for trespassing.
Wow. Then we're introduced to, there's a farmer called Irv who like picks them up when they're hitchhiking.
In both films, right? Irv?
In both films. But I much prefer Irv in this movie because, he seems like a genuine...
Irv is a straight up guy. Both of them come right in the end, but original recipe Irv, he basically offers to stand by Andy and Charlie to the death. And because he didn't believe them right away.
Yeah. Original recipe versus Irv Zero.
Yeah.
Or Diet Irv.
Diet Irv.
Drunk Irv.
Diet Irv seems like he's telling lies as well. I know Andy and Charlie are telling lies, but in this one, in the original, he owns up pretty much straight away. He says, look, I've given you a wrong name. I've not told you the truth. And he's like, what are you doing? Are you on the run from the mum? Have you stolen the kid? He's like, no, I'll be honest with you.
She's got magic powers.
I got magic powers. We've got some government agents turning up. And he goes, that's pretty mental, but I believe it.
He basically goes, I don't believe you. And then Charlie walks in and goes, oh, you've told him that we've got special powers. And he immediately puts 2 and 2 together. He's like, you didn't say that. She's got mind reading powers. And he's like, I'm so sorry that I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
I'm on your side. I'll come out with you. And when the agents come, this is where he gets proper like 1980s Cold War like era stuff where like the government agents say, here, I'm here to arrest these kids. And he goes, you need a warrant. He goes, no, I don't. He says, well, unless I woke up in the blooming Soviet Union today.
Yeah. That's right. Have this gunshot in your arm. Ah!
Yeah, and then Charlie kicks off.
This reminds me of the scene from, is it X-Men 2 where Pyro blows up all the cars and stuff. She pretty much does that. She lights a load of dudes on fire, blows up cars. But then we're made to think at this point like she can't control the power. Once it gets out, that's it.
So is this the guy that she burns into a skeleton? Just now? Is that like...
so. Yeah, I think it's I don't know, maybe.
Burns him into like an Uncle Owen skeleton straight away.
Into a skeleton. Yeah. In the remake, this happens and then the film pretty much ends, which is really weird. It kind of just like goes to the final standoff.
Yeah, in the remake, so Irv watches TV and gets hammered all night. And then has a chat with him and goes, no, like you've realized that she's a nice kid. She's obviously not afraid of me. He goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I have phoned the police though. He goes outside. The police in their area, and he goes outside and spins a tall towel. He's like, well, I thought I saw her, but it's in my dream. I was watching Cry Watch and I was just dreaming like, oh, and Nick even said don't have nightmares, but I'd fallen asleep by then, so I didn't hear him. So I had nightmares and I phoned the police after it. And then Rainbird just comes and shoots all the policemen.
I don't like Rainbird's role in the remake. I don't think it's
just a lunatic.
There's a weird bit where, so in the remake, the dad, I can't remember his name now, does like a bit of powers to try and help Charlie escape. He makes it so she like disappears, but only for like 5 seconds. And then like Rainbird sees her go into the woods, and it's like, oh god, nice trick, you got me there. I don't know. He's probably thinking, no, he hasn't. I saw her go into those woods.
Yeah, I saw her go.
And he turns a different angle and sees her going into some woods over there. Like, I'm going to make him see something. It could be anything. The imagination. That's all
like
that limits
mammoths
me.
Come in.
Yeah,
you do. If you could do that, especially in both cases, the film establishes that Andy has got something wrong with his brain. He's been using his brain magic too much, and every time he uses it, it makes him poorly, and he's going to die from it eventually. So he has to use it very sparingly. So you throw out that you're blind all the time. You wouldn't say, you can't see my daughter for the minute.
Yeah,
she's disappeared.
do a Doctor Strange. Oh, I can see where your daughter's gone. What eyes?
What eyes?
I mean, you can literally say anything to him. Say, your hands, your hands
snakes.
Snakes, your hands are that's it. Your hands are Toblerones.
Your legs are yogurt.
your legs are yogurt. Your face is Nutella.
Very ugly.
Oh, well, your face is very ugly. You consider yourself an 8 out of 10, but today 6.
Yeah, you could do so much with that creative.
You're on fire, mate.
ability.
So in the original, after they've dispatched the agents, they just go on the run again. They go to, there's like a secluded cabin, and they're talking about like going public with their story, Rorschach style. I guess we're gonna go.
Yeah, you're gonna send Rorschach's journal in.
We're gonna go and send our. Well, just go and tell the press. I'm sure they'll believe it. I'm sure it won't appear in the Daily Star. But yeah, and it's then we're introduced to the sort of the big bads who involved with the shops. Obviously, Captain James Hollister, and he's the one who sends John Rainbird to capture them. He's only introduced in the original at this point, whereas obviously in the remake he's sort of been there mostly throughout.
Like the captain's phoning him in the first 15 minutes of the program, right? He said, "Oh, go and get these kids, will you?
I'm activating you." Well, I felt that.
Yeah. And John Rainbird, he's got an eye patch. He's got a ponytail. And he's good with a sniper rifle, but I'm assuming he just shoots Charlie with a tranquilizer, doesn't he?
Not very good at jumping.
Just a little dart.
A little dart.
This guy, John Rainbird, the new one, not so much, but original recipe, John Rainbird. This guy, he's an action figure. You'd have a John Rainbird, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, you'd have a. What would he have? A sniper rifle, a horse,
tranquilizer rifle, horse,
a Hoover.
Yeah, little tray of foods.
Yeah. So yeah, they get captured, and then they're kept like separately by the shop, and the shop are like can essentially continuing to experiment on them because they're giving Andrew stuff that suppresses his powers, and they're trying to convince Charlie to like indulge them with their experiments.
Go on, have a go at making things dead up.
But she's just like, nah, I want to see my dad. I want to see my dad. So
what would you start with? Like if you were like saying, let's make something hot. What would you probably like lunch? I was going to warm this up anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, baked potato.
Yeah. Give this a go.
Thank you, baked potato.
Yeah, I'll maybe trick her into doing it by always giving her food that's quite tepid.
Yeah. Would you do you microwave tea when it's gone cold?
No, I make myself drink it cold as a punishment for letting it get cold.
I'm all right drinking it cold, to be fair. Disgusting.
But yeah, that's the taste of defeat, that is.
And what does she microwave? She microwaves some bricks.
She microwaves some bricks later on, but first she microwaves a hot chocolate. When John Rainbird first, when Martin Sheen comes to visit her, he goes, "I'll bought you some hot chocolate."
I bought you some
like
bricks.
it, mate. Burn it up.
Yeah, hate it. I absolutely hate it, John.
Yeah, brings her an Ovaltine.
Horlicks is great, but you can't stir it enough. Like it's always got like little mines of powder.
Yeah.
Ooh, little landmine there. I mean, it's quite nice. It's quite chewy. Yeah. But the
what are you drinking? I'm drinking a lovely chewy drink. Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, the test for Andy is, they're threatening him, saying, like, if you want to see your daughter again, you'll do these things. And his test is get a guy to put some ink in his water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
And he's like, I'm not doing that.
And he's like,
go on.
The guy goes in and said, "Oh, what's this about a test?" He goes, "Oh, I don't know. We're just here, I guess." And the guy's like, "Do you want a glass of water?" Not because of mind powers, he's just polite. And he goes,
"Yeah, but he's like grabbing his head. He's like struggling to get the mind power thing going." And then he says, "Put that ink in that water." I'd be like, "What? Are you all right? What are you doing with your head?"
I will not. I will not put an egg in the water.
But that seems to be like the weirdest thing about the thing. I'd be like, I think he's having a stroke. Get someone in. He looks like me when I'm trying to figure out the Wordle for the day. Jesus.
And you're pretty sure you've used all the letters that exist in the word. There ain't even a word like that.
J, come on. Yeah, and this is proper. I think this is probably the inspiration for a lot of the 90s X-Men cartoons, because he was big on putting his hand to his head and he's using his powers and doing like a
the ripples in the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it end scanners as well, or did it just kind of shake and go red, and then the other person's head pops?
Yeah, they just do that. Whereas this guy is probably like,
no, weird. It's like, so when Scanners is an 80s film as well. So I feel like in the 80s there was a vibe of scary mutants, but now we don't really have that, do we? Don't think of mutants as scary. We feel like maybe it's a bit too done.
Mutants are mostly nice.
Well, we're more accepting of the strange people now.
Yeah.
Not if they have to hold the head to use their psychic powers. But this is where, in the original, not in the remake, this, for me, perhaps the most interesting bit, John comes up with a plan. So he is not posing as the man that has captured them like a special agent. And he's got something over the commanders of the base. Because, oh yeah, if I disappear, you get rid of me. It's going to come out that basically you guys have, like, if I disappear, it's all going to be released, so you'll all come unstuck. So even though he's not in charge, he's got something over the commanders of this base. Mm-hmm. And then he comes up with a plan to get Charlie to cooperate with the experiments, which is to basically go in and make friends with her. And at first, he's doing it in a way that he is, he's just trying to be, in all of the cases, he's posing as like an orderly that just works at the hospital, brings the food and so on. But he goes from just trying to be like a nice, friendly, bumbling character to actually making himself look really vulnerable. So like he's going in there to fix the electrics, and then I guess it's all engineered that the lights are going to go off, and then he tells her a story about how he is afraid of the dark, and then she kind of takes pity on him and is like, oh, it's all right, we'll be together.
It's a masterful plan, to be fair. Even to the point where I was convinced at one point, I was like, he's all right.
But it's on the level.
he's bloody scared of the dark. Give him a break. It's a great plan because obviously he just comes in as like an orderly and just like sort of befriends her naturally. I mean, he is manipulating her because he's just a little kid. But I think, it's really well done. The fact that we get so much from this character in the original, but in the remake, this character is just a hitman essentially, but still kind of tries to claim the same sort of character arc as well, like when it comes full circle at the end, without the sort of the distrust that goes alongside it.
And he kind of softens his appearance as well, because to the beginning of the film he has just like a blind eye, and then as he starts trying to befriend Charlie, he goes in with his eye patch. And just like, oh, Nick Fury. Just
and he's got a lovely ponytail. What a great guy. And around about this point as well is when Captain James Hollister is trying to convince Andy that, look, we'll send you to Hawaii. It'll be a right laugh. You know what I mean? Don't worry about your daughter anymore. We'll send you to Hawaii. It'll be lovely. Or summer every day. You'll wear a grass skirt and you'll
have cocktails. It'll be ever so nice.
It'll be delightful. And he's like thinking about it, to be fair.
But has he been not taking his pills, or has his powers just started coming back naturally on their own?
But it was like hiding them or something, or pretending.
He's been like faking the acceptance of his drugs, so it's essentially a ruse.
Today's drugs, yum yum yum.
Just loves him
yum, yum.
Out the window.
But I think Charlie's I think Charlie's been like getting stronger as well, but also been able to like control it in a way. She does a test where she puts all the power into like a bathtub, and that just boils over. But then she also starts telling the power to back off.
Yeah, back off is 80% of this film's dialogue.
Back off. Who are you talking to? My bloody powers. Oh yeah, we've got it.
And on the off season, when she's not burning up bricks, she burns up a whole concrete wall. When she's not burning up bricks, then she gets to go on lovely horse rides with Necromancer, the horse.
Oh yeah, like Necromancer, like as a lovely horse's name. What's this horse called? It's just called Necromancer. What's this horse called? Grim Reaper. Oh right, that's lovely.
Yeah, that's Oblivion, and then on
the Lich King.
Look at this one. This one's Charles Manson. He's lovely. He's lovely. He loves sugar cubes. Loves them. He's a Shetland.
Yeah, little Shetland Charlie. So yeah, and this
Got
is
a little
all,
swastika carved into his head.
This is all. Yeah, that's like the pattern, the dappling on the horse. And yeah, Johnny Rainbird's the one that's taken her to all of these events. So as an orderly, quite overworked. That's probably isn't in his job description, but he's a nice guy. He's off doing it.
I guess that's the thing. Charlie's so young that she wouldn't make those sort of connections, would she? Like, I kept thinking, this doesn't seem like something an orderly would be allowed to do. I'd be like, you can't do that. You got to do the other rooms. You got to do the other rooms. What are you doing?
You've been CRB'd, mate. I know you work here, but like, I'm not. I'm not
you put your hand on a knee at one point.
Can't do that, can you?
Can't do that, John. But he's a master manipulator. What's the word? Machiavellian.
Yeah, he's a big schemer, and he's saying to the chiefs of the army, he said, "Yeah, you keep doing your experiments, and then again, I need to do what's right. I need to." And again, it's an interesting arc for this character because he's a bad man. He wants to kill a kid, but he isn't entirely bad because his motivation here is unlike Rainbird in the remake, where he basically goes, "Yeah, I was the person they experimented on before they got volunteers from students. I was one of the lab rats, and he's got powers and he's mad." Whereas John Rainbird in the original, he doesn't have powers. He's a guy that is convinced that this little girl is going to become a danger. And I think he is genuine. He says, "Oh no, I really like her. I think she's brilliant, but I am going to smash her nose into her brain using one of my patented karate chops."
He describes that in such a way where you're like, oh God, it's kind of out of nowhere. It's like when someone's giving you too much information about something where you go, oh yeah. And then they just deliver something where you're like, oh, overshare.
Yeah. And
wow.
It's like, yeah, she's a really lovely little girl. I love her. And it's going to hurt me a great deal when bone fragments go into her brain from the thumping I give her by surprise because she trusts me. And only I can get close enough to give her a thumb.
He said, like, at her happiest moment as well. He's going to make it happiest moment. I'm going to take her to Disneyland, right? I'm going to take her to Disneyland. I'm going to give her a big ice cream at Disneyland. And I'm going to call
Princess Jasmine there.
Princess Jasmine. I'm going to call Princess Jasmine over. She's going to come over and I'll say, oh my God, Charlie absolutely loves you. And then at that moment when she looks at Princess Jasmine and smiles, smash, punch her in the face, bone fragments in the brain, dead.
The lights are going to come down.
I'll walk out of Disneyland. I'll get away with it. I'll walk out. See you later. Who's going to arrest me? Donald Duck? Piss off.
He's in the Navy. Be careful.
Got to try.
Get her at the photo point of the roller coaster. One photo, she's really happy. Most happy she's ever in her entire life. Next photo, she's dead.
On the log flume, just karate chopped in the face. And he's like,
brain fragments in the brain.
That's a sacrifice. I'll be banned from Disneyland. I won't be able to go there. Even if I could go in, you move the eye patch over to their eyes so they don't recognize me.
You don't recognize them. Who's talking?
It'll be spoiled for me. I'm never going to be able to ride Space Mountain again without thinking about that girl I karate chopped to death on there. Wow. I hear it's a small world after all. Tears in my eyes because I remember that murder I had to do. It's for the good of the world, though, so I'll do it.
So Andy manages to hatch a plan where he starts mind controlling Captain James Hollister, gets a note to Charlie, which basically says all the stuff. Meet me at the barn. We're gonna basically escape this place. Charlie just goes and because she can confide in John, tells him the old bloody plan. And he's loving it. He's like,
John. He's like, really? You're gonna escape?
Like a great plan.
That sounds brilliant. She's like, oh, what? I can help you go to the escape if you want. And she's like, nah, don't. I don't want you to get in trouble, John, my best mate who I can confide in. And then, conveniently enough, another guy just turns up and says, all right, I've been tasked to bring you to the stables at 8 o'clock tonight. He hasn't been mind controlled. He's just been told by his boss that he's doing it and thought,
fair enough. Sounds normal.
It's not my job to question these things.
So yeah, it's been basically the big escape. They all meet in the barn, but bloody Rainbird, he's heard about it, so he goes to the barn, and again, still manipulating Charlie. He's like, hides up in the rafters, And he says, "You can't use your powers up here, Charlie, because you'll kill the lovely horses, including Necromancer, Grim Reaper, and Charles Manson."
Your favourite of 3 horses. But in the meantime, like, the plan does really come apart because Martin Sheen has just dobbed on him. He's dobbed on Rainbird to Andy. She goes, What's going on with her? I've been getting her to do these experiments. He goes, "Oh, tell you what, matey Rainbird has pretended to be her friend, and he's manipulating her. He's stitching her up like a kipper." And then
because he was basically
Andy
getting her
then
to do the test so that she could like be reunited with her dad, essentially, just telling her.
And every day the scientists go, "Oh,
he's busy."
Yeah, he's gone down the races, and he says that he doesn't like having a daughter anymore.
I've heard he's bought a ticket to Hawaii.
Yeah,
sounds suspicious.
He said he heard you like riding horses, and he thinks they're stupid and lame.
He thinks horses are ridiculous, and in fact, I said to him, "Charlie," and he said, "Who?"
Manson, the horse.
Charlie Manson, the horse. I love him. I don't know any other Charlies though, not a single one. How could you? But it all comes unstuck because basically her dad comes in and goes, "Oh, for some reason Rainbird is tempting her up the ladder. He's going, 'Oh, come up here.'
Yeah.
Is he going to karate chop when he's got his karate chop behind his back ready to go when she gets to the top?"
That's his special.
All wound up.
Yeah. He's in the background. But then basically the dad
like,
comes in, dobs on him. And she goes, "Oh no, I trusted you, mate."
I like Andy's plan. He says, "You've got depth perception," even though he hasn't. So he tries to jump.
Yeah. And that's how again, of all the things you could have told him.
That jump is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he thought there was a swimming pool there. Even if someone said like jump, I'd be like, okay, all right, let's measure this out. I'm just gonna try and jump and roll.
Yeah.
Roll as soon as I land. He like jumps like face first.
Yeah,
like,
I think
like,
you jump.
My name is John Rainbird. Welcome to Jackass.
He's like doing like a, when you just pig sick of original Tomb Raider, and it's like right up at the top of this pyramid, swan dive off.
The swan dive.
He does the swan dive. He does
he
the
could have said anything.
Mr.
So he shoots Martin Sheen in the head.
Yeah,
and then obviously gets
even though he jumped up, he's still got a gun.
Yeah, and, say throw your gun away, or didn't say you are Macho Man Randy Savage. The Ultimate Warrior is down on the road, and you're on the top turnbuckle. Get it?
Yeah. Eat that gun. Eat it. Eat it.
That gun is made of Lindt chocolate, made by the world's finest chocolatiers. And you,
I'll save it for later.
Proper chocoholic.
Chocoholic. You are an absolute chocophile.
You are a horse. Oh.
Oh, we disagree, wouldn't he? Because he'd say, "Nay, no, you are."
You are on the hay. You're a horse on fire.
But he jumped. But yeah, John Rainbird jumps down, but it's not a very high barn, is it? He jumps about 2 meters down to the ground.
He hurts his knee or something, doesn't it? Like he.
Oh,
he's an old fella, though, isn't
he?
Yeah. He shouldn't be jumping off barns.
But then what Andy neglects to say to him is, "And also don't shoot me," because he does. He goes, "Right in the neck, mate, have it."
He did say it, but it was really quiet, so it didn't count. I said, "Don't shoot me."
He said, "Shoot me," and he didn't catch the don't. He said, "Was I clear enough on the don't?" But it's too late.
Way too late. So we get shot, and it is a fatal gunshot wound, isn't it? As well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then Charlie basically goes,
back off, doesn't work anymore.
She goes full Jean Grey / Human Torch / Pyro / Carrie.
Wheeler from
all of the crazy
Wheeler from Captain Planet.
Yeah,
uses the power of fire.
So how does she kill Rainbird? She
burns him up. Although, spoilers, she does burn Rainbird up, like burns him to an absolute crisp on the floor after he shoots her dad. But there's a sequel to this where he comes back.
Oh, is it like a miniseries?
Yeah, it's a classic 90s adaptation of Stephen King work, a little two-parter.
How did he come back?
I'll read you the synopsis at the end. I don't want to spoil this one yet.
Okay.
This is probably one of the coolest scenes, apart from the karate chop one, where she does loads of like imps from Doom fireballs to kill loads of G-men.
Yeah. She's
the cannibal moment. Yeah, it's good.
There's people in fireproof suits as well getting flung off. So basically, this whole thing is in the remake is condensed right down essentially into one really quick scene that plays out.
She in this one, it goes to the bit where they were captured at the farmer's house. She burns a cat up once, and then she breaks in to the lab. Remembers burning
kind of
the
a
cat
cool
up
bit
and
where
murder.
it's kind of a cool bit where there's a guy who's pretending to be like an IT technician, and then she's like, "Oh, I hate IT technicians," and then she like burns him up as he goes for his gun.
Have you got a gun? No, I haven't.
It's a mouse, computer mouse. Click it quick.
I've got to do
it's a little. It's a literal mouse.
But like he's kind of all burned up. He's like pussing and oozing and stuff. It looks kind of cool, I guess.
He's got a gammy eye. He could be Rainbird if they'd done the sequel. He's all burned up, and it's again. I guess this is part of the thing because they do have a conversation about if you kill the guards, they might have like wives and families and all this other stuff. And you hear this guy on the phone to his partner saying, "Oh, we'll be home in a minute." Well, assuming nothing happens, like I get burned up in the car. Shouldn't lie about having a gun though, I guess. And she goes, "Oh, can you, if you're IT, can you change my default browser to Chrome? Because we're a Microsoft Edge shop around here." And she goes,
"Oh God,
right.
That is it. I am fuming."
Burns him up, and then
good.
In the original, the bad chief of the not the original. In the remake, the bad chief of the lab has got her dad and said, "Oh, if he uses his powers one more time, he'll die." And he goes, "I'll use my powers one more time to make you burn me up." And she does. She burns up that.
That's not very nice.
Obliterates everyone.
Constantly notice she killed her dad.
Yeah. Why do that?
I guess his problems are over. He's burned up now. Isn't going to worry about that.
Care. Yeah. I quite like the effect of the bleeding eyeballs. It looked kind of I don't know, kind of interesting.
It's intense.
Again, was it a bit Stranger Things? Because 11 kind of gets the bleedy nose every time she does something like that. I don't know. It felt a bit, yeah.
I just feel like there should have been like the idea of going to a secret government lab where they do tests on people with powers makes you think, if you went into that lab, think about all the cool stuff you'd find. And there's like nothing in there. It's like they've like a game they've released and not filled out all the content yet.
Yeah, there's no textures in there. It's like one of the vaults from Fallout but without the interesting
Fallout
stuff.
76.
Yeah. In the remake. But I think you already mentioned that she opens with her newfound computer powers, she opens all the cells, and just John Rainbird is in there, who walks past. One of the lab techs again tries to stitch her because, I'm on your side, I'll help you escape. And then she's literally like pointing to a god going,
I'm not falling for that.
And then she goes, "There's a guard behind me, isn't there? I'm going to blow you both up with fire powers." And then
no doubt,
huge departure in the endings, right? Like in the remake, basically she meets some fireproof men who are not able to be got by a power because they've got big asbestos suits on. John Rainbird comes out, shoots them. She stops at the edge of the base, going, "I've burned everyone up."
But
come on, then I'll take you off. Come with me now.
Can't she start the fire inside the suits?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of weird. And again, I don't understand the why her clothes don't burn or anything like that. Is a bit weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't really explain that, I guess. But, I suppose it doesn't need to. We kind of understand why.
She gets to the beach and like, "I'm tired now." She has a little lie down on the beach. And then Rainbird scoops her up. This is the guy who killed her mum.
Yeah.
Captured her dad.
And
killed the guy.
She knows that. It's not like she's being manipulated. She knows this is the person who killed her mum.
Killed Irv.
Yeah. Or at least shot him in the leg. He's at the very least poorly.
Yeah.
Woolly leg.
And he's got no eyebrows. No kid likes someone without eyebrows. I don't think he has eyebrows, anyway.
Don't look right.
Yeah.
But in the original, in this remake, she just lets him carry her off at the end, and then I guess we assume that he's gonna bring her up now.
Yeah, I think they're gonna grow up to be super people
together.
Super team.
Fire and rain. So it's a team up there.
Yeah.
Because when I first met them, I was like, oh, is he gonna have rain powers? Is Rainbird like a code name? No, it's just his name, coincidentally.
His name.
Whereas in the original, Rainbird gets burnt up, and then just lots of faceless goons get obliterated by wicked fireball powers and fire coming along the floor towards you and all these other things.
And she's bulletproof as well.
Yeah, because she can stop bullets now as well. Because that's how she stops John Rainbird. She just evaporates his bullet.
She mugs everyone off, burns everyone up, and then has the presence of mind to hitchhike back to this farm, which you definitely remember where it was. What would she even say? I was at a farm. I was at a farm a while ago.
House.
Can you take me to Herb's house?
Oh, well,
that's okay. Right there.
You got the right taxi.
I know him. Yeah.
I hammer him.
And then Irv takes her to the New York Times, where she's going to tell her story.
Yeah. Here we go. We're not going to be laughed at in the building. Let's go.
Yeah.
So there we go. I mean, a little bit less detailed and more random than sometimes we go through these things. We're jumping between two films, but yeah, that's the two of them effectively. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride. I think it's fairly light in terms of detail. This is definitely a film you could get away with having on in the background, I think.
Yeah.
Got some interesting things. More so for me in the original.
Firestarter.
Oh, hang on a sec. We've got some name game for you.
The name game. Is that one of the answers now?
It might be. So number one, it's about a guy who passes gas and says it wasn't him.
A liar.
Liar farter.
Liar farter. Yeah. The next one is about a bride whose tights keep falling down, and her bridesmaids like, why don't you? The tights keep falling down.
Get higher garter.
Close, but you could. Why don't you?
Try a garter.
Try a garter. Yeah, why don't you try a garter?
Try a garter, for God's sake.
Next one. This is about a guy who's like a regular guy, but he comes from a heavenly place, and he died for our sins. So he comes from a higher place, and he died for our sins.
Higher
Jesus.
Higher Jesus, Son of God, Holy Man.
Come with higher martyr.
Higher martyr, of course.
That's a good one.
Very good.
That's a good one. There you go.
And the last one I've got here is a guy who simply cannot eat fish and chips without an accompanying sauce.
Something tartar.
Yeah.
He simply cannot eat it.
It's 2 syllables instead of the. Well, I guess that makes it still works.
It's 2 syllables. Fire.
Yeah.
Not without tartar.
Require tartar.
Require tartar.
Good as well.
Slow today. Slow.
Very slow.
You got any off the top of the dome, Ben?
No. Have you, Andy?
All right. It's a film about some lovable East End of London larrikins. All the same man, cloned several times. His daughter's there as well, and they have a little race in little mini cars around a track, and they throw little turtle shells at each other. See who's going to be the winner.
Mario Carter.
It's not Mario though; it's someone else. Carter, an East End of London larrikin. Really personality. He's a bit of a joker. He's a funny man called David Cameron a slag once, and then that's what landed him in this go-karting adventure.
Oh, Danny Dyer Carter.
It's Dyer Carter. Very
Dyer
good.
Carter. And his daughter's there as well, who's also called Danny Dyer. Yeah, that's good. I'm not gonna top that. I'm not even gonna attempt it. And I apologize in advance. But yeah.
What about
I've got one more as well. Let's see
what
you got.
about
Scottish guy
Yeah.
is standing in the middle of a road, and a bit of a car rolls down and knocks him off his feet, and then he calls someone up, his friend. He says, "You're not going to believe what's happened to me." He explains, and he goes, "No, what, really?" And then he says,
tire?
Knocked him off his feet.
What are you again?
A tire did.
A car tire.
A car
tire.
Him being Scottish was an important thing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I can't even comprehend that. I can't function.
So in the film I have, there is a young family, and following experiments, they will just absolutely, there's two things they won't tolerate. A man won't tolerate. One of them is having clothes that are damp after they come out of the wash.
Dryer.
When he buys that product, when he buys the product to do that, he just will not pay full price for it. He has to haggle.
Dryer barter.
Dryer barter.
Dryer barter. We know what Luke's superpower is. If he's got that, what's the name of the drug? Lot 6. I'm just really good at working out clues for anything. I'll get the answer right away.
That's his mutant power. Before we go into the into rating the film, would you like to know what happens in the sequel, Firestarter Rekindled?
The fire.
I'm looking
put
at
it out. Need to put it out. Everything's on fire. Put it out. Is that what
it gets rekindled. So
does Luke still think this is the game? I can't tell.
Basically, Charlie, she does manage to successfully make her powers back off, and she's been a librarian now for a little bit. She's grown up. And
that's the worst place a fire starter should
go. All those dry books. Well, she spends all of her time researching how to control pyrokinesis powers. Don't know how many books there are about that, but she's doing all right. So it turns out that there is a lawyer who, there's been a class action lawsuit that means the shop has been sued, and he's got a lovely check to clear to give all the people that were wrongfully lot 6'd. But guess what, guys? It's not really a class action lawsuit. It was all a ruse because John Rainbird, not dead. He's a bit scarred.
He loves a ruse, didn't he? Jesus.
Yeah, he's the only other ruse. The ruse in this case is that there's not a class action lawsuit and there's a check for her. It's that he has made that up and he's using it to lure all the lot 6 people out so he can kill them. And he is
what's his problem?
He's scarred from being in the fire. He hasn't got off unscathed, don't worry. So it's realistic. He's there, and he's Malcolm McDowell now, though.
Oh wow!
So he's been
the cast.
scarred.
Dennis Hopper in it as well.
Dennis Hopper's in it as well, yeah. So, by the way, Rainbird has he's perfected the experiment, and he's got a group of six lads that help him with unusual abilities. One has the power of suggestion. One can sense truth and deception, not as good. 2 can move things with their minds. 1 has a destructive voice from hell. There's a destructive voice from hell. Not my words, the words of the Wikipedia
Black
article.
Bolt?
Yeah, he's Black Bolt. But no, Black Bolt's just got a destructive voice.
What eyes?
Nothing to do with hell.
Yeah, so he's got a voice from hell that's very destructive. And one of them is the worst of all. Is an energy sink. He's an energy vampire like Colin Robinson. He can suck the life out of energy out of anyone he touches, like original recipe cartoon Michael Morbius. So you can do that. You can suck the life out of them.
Hand suckers.
So anyway,
it's a mini series, right?
It's a little 2-part mini series. He robs a bank, tests them as a test of warfare powers for the new decade. But basically, the lawyer teams up with Charlie. And this time she definitely burns him to death. Take that.
Definitely
Bird.
dead. Makes him crispy.
She rekindles herself. Yeah, she turns him into ashes.
Oh, there we go. Unlucky.
So that's what happens in the
Rainbird.
sequel. So watch
There we
that if you
go.
like. 2002.
Yeah. Wow. There we go.
Right. So
That's it.
last thing to do, we need to rate the movies. Rate good or rate bad.
Yeah. Like, where you landing on this one, guys?
Right down the middle, I think, for me.
Mm.
So I don't know. I mean, I quite like the overall vibe of the remake in the sense of it being a throwback to 90s action, sci-fi, horror, thriller sort of films. But the third act is really, really weak. So I give that one a C minus. And then I give the original, I mean, it's still not amazing. I mean, it is better, but I would be tempted to go with a classic lukewarm, tepid B minus.
A B minus.
Wait, what?
Not quite good. Wouldn't quite recommend it.
No.
You're sort of saying, watch it if you like.
I think a B minus is fair for the original. I might go. Let's go for a B minus as well. I think it does a lot better, and I think it's got a better cast. The relationship between characters is just more fleshed out and makes more sense. And that third act, which hinges a lot on what's his name? Rainbird, the actor's name.
Rainbird.
George C. Scott.
I nearly said George C. Riley then. John C. Riley, sorry. John C. Riley. It hinges on his performance because I think he's a good addition to that third act, which is like, okay, there's not so many explosions and people dying and people going blind, but now I'm gonna manipulate you, and I like that. Whereas it just, that third act in the remake is just pretty much non-existent. It just seems like it rushes. It's like doing your homework really well. Oh yeah, it's pretty good actually. Yeah, and it goes, I don't know, you got 5 minutes left. You got to write an ending. And then it was all a dream. Yeah. It's a little bit pathetic. So I'd probably go for a D for the remake. A D. Can't go any higher than that because I was a bit like, it didn't grab my attention as much. And then it kind of made me think, I don't really want to watch the original now. I'm kind of a bit like, but then I was pleasantly surprised by most of it. Good times.
I think your analogy works spot on, Ben. The one I was thinking of, it feels like a kid who really loves drawing, but absolutely gets pig sick of coloring in. So they do like a beautiful line drawing and then just like color in. I was like, oh fuck it, just scribble this shit in here and just get through it. For me, I think the biggest crime of the new one, it's not performance. It's like I think it suffers from the time it's come out in and just how common, superhero stuff is in everyone's lexicon now, and how there's an expected level of knowledge that comes from it, and we've seen it. We've seen more effective horror and thriller elements come into a straight superhero movie than we see superhero stuff come into this horror/thriller, and it suffers for it in the modern world. But for me, the biggest crime of the remake is that it loses the most interesting parts of the original. This third act with the way that John Rainbird's relationship works, and there being some meaningful stuff to it. And I can appreciate you don't want to remake something shot for shot, but I think they lost the essence of what made this film interesting rather than being disposable. You see similar things better, like even from Stephen King adaptations, like if you want a young girl struggling with powers and things, that there is Carrie for that. Even the Carrie remake, which is Carrie remakes, which is far more accomplished than what this manages to pull off. So I would go C for the original, not perfect, interesting. I'd still recommend you watch it, and a D for this one. I'm with you on the Ds. Then I don't think I need to see this one again particularly.
Yeah,
just shame. Talented people, decent graphical work, but I'd rather overlook the fact that the old one is 40 years old now. Then
God,
I could live with the dated visuals because I think the character work is more interesting.
Also, a point I make: the age of the main character, Charlie, she's a lot younger in the original, right? She seems like, I don't know, 7, maybe. And then in the remake, she's like maybe, I don't know, 12, possibly, maybe a little bit younger than that. But I don't know, having her a lot younger seemed to suit it a lot more, I guess. But yeah, there we go. That's it.
And she burned her mum up. We didn't mention that. Burned her arms right off. She didn't
die
of that.
Yeah.
Right off their hinges. There we go.
Yeah. So next week, I can't remember what we're doing.
The Birds?
The Birds, yeah.
Birds.
Doing a classic next week.
Cool. Look forward to
nice.
that. So thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout, where you get access to the episodes, bonus content, and some free stuff. Any plans for more bonus content over there?
I think we need to start making plans for what we're going to put out, because we haven't done anything since the Resident Evil ranking episode. So
we're going to do that. Maybe on the horizon for a couple of places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A couple of interviews as well. So let's they'll be available soon.
Cool. Thanks to our current patrons: Lane Spencer, John Crennan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Scott Rigby, Ollie Child, Julie Bilgren, Leslie Carlo, and Pazuzu. And does Tash have like some social media presence and stuff for the music?
So just tajeaston.com, I believe, is his website.
Cool.
For the music, for the theme music, and for the audio clip as well. But yeah, that's all in the show notes.
Cool. And thanks to listeners for for using your ears and listening. Thanks for that. Thanks to my co-host Ben and Annie for being right horror dudes.
Thanks
guys.
Thank you guys for being right horror dudes as well. See you next
everyone.
week for some avian action.
Mishaps.
Definitely mishaps.
Some avian uh-ohs. Watch out, everyone. For now, back off, I guess.
Avian uh-oh sounds like you see your car after some pigeons have flown over. Oh god. Got a few avian uh-ohs all over my car.
It's just bird shit.
Gotta get it off quick though, don't let it dry. My goodness.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
See you next time.